Good evening, I'm Dominique Moody, your moderator and host from NBC4 News. I'd like to welcome our viewers to our first People's Candidate Forum, brought to you by Prince George's County Community Development Corporation. This evening, we will have a conversation with three candidates who are competing for the county executive seat. We have Billy Bridges, Marcellus Cruz, and Greg Holmes. They will be questioned by our panel, a group of activists from around the county. First, we have Stacey Hartwell from the South County Environmental Justice Coalition. We have Herb Jones from the Tantalian North Area Civic Association, and Ron Weiss from the Indian Head Highway Area Action Council. Now, here are the rules of engagement. Each candidate will be given 3 minutes for an opening statement, followed by a 2-minute limit per response to the questions posed by our panel. Now, let's get things started with opening statements by our candidates, starting with Billy Bridges. Next, we'll have Marcellus Cruz. You all have 3 minutes. Mr. Mitchell, you also will have 3 minutes.
Good evening. My name is Billy Bridges, Democratic candidate for Prince George's County Executive. I'm a lifelong Christian, military veteran, and an employee of the Prince George's County Public Schools for the past 28 years. I'm a father of 2 daughters and 3 grandchildren, which are my motivating factors. My formal preparation includes a Bachelor of Arts in Political Science, a Master's of Public Administration, a Master's of Science in Pastoral Counseling, and I'm completing now a master's degree in legal studies, Also, I've completed a Master's of Leadership in emergency management. My platform is governing with a Christian spirit to improve our healthcare, safety, schools, and wealth. I have been a candidate for this office since 2018, 22, and 24. My campaign is separated from some of the other campaigns in that I am self-funded. I take no donations. I don't want any appearance of misconduct. Within my platform, again, we are trying to make sure that we empower our voters to make sure that they have a hand in government and not just a voting part of government. Thank you.
Okay, next we will have Mr. Cruz.
Good evening. My name is Marcellus Cruz, and I'm a candidate for Prince George's County Executive. I believe it's time for change. There comes that moment in life where you see things are headed in the wrong direction. And you can ask yourself, what are you going to do about it? For me, I'm deciding to step in the ring and give an answer. All my life, my parents, who are educators, have shown me that leadership is not about a title. It's about opening up doors for others. My dad used to spar with me and push me in philosophical debates to drill down to the truth, to find the solution. So all my life has been about solutions. I have worked for and with government. I have also built with 2 others a visa passport system. I've innovated. I have done what I needed to do in the private sector, but I now see that our public sector needs help. I have a plan, a real plan, to help our families generate up to $500 a month. A plan to help our businesses and our churches to generate up to $800 a month. How? Through a decentralized cloud computing center. I believe it is time to bring revenue into this county and move from a passive economy to a production economy. You see, that has been our problem. We have not changed this economy and how our government functions. I'm here to bring change. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Greg Holmes. I'm a candidate for county executive. I'm a 3rd-generation Prince George's County resident, and this is our moment. This is the most defining moment in our county's history up to this point. I'm a Christian. I'm a dad. I'm a husband. I'm a father. I'm a mentor. I'm a coach. I'm a lot of things, but mostly I'm upset, and I've had enough about what's going on in this county. For too long, we've waited for action. We've waited for leadership. We've waited for results, and we're still waiting. It's time for a new standard of executive leadership for my county, your county, Prince George's. These moments today are built on what's going on in the global markets and in global affairs, but they all roll down to our local government. And so we need a candidate, an executive who understands what a standard is. We've lost that thus far in this county. If we look back just over the past year, we've seen dancing in hotel rooms, we've seen hiring of people who aren't qualified, and we've seen the old politics and the old faces come back to this county. We can't afford it. Not only are our prices too high, our leadership is lacking. So this is our moment for change. I'm Greg Holmes, your next county executive.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Holmes. We'll be right back with the People's Candidate Forum.
Through engagement and empowerment, we are fostering a new era of entrepreneurship right here in Prince George's County.
Welcome back to the People's Candidate Forum. We have 3 of the 5 candidates with us tonight that are running for the office of the county executive. Again, we have Billy Bridges, Marcellus Cruz, and Greg Holmes. Again, I want to remind everyone that candidates, you will have a 2-minute time limit for your responses. Now let's get started with Mrs. Hartwell. You will have the first question, Ms. Hartwell.
Good evening, candidates. Environment and climate are major pillars to a healthy and thriving community. It is the driver behind climate change. It also impacts jobs in the new green economy, which is a great opportunity. It has impacts, obviously, to our health. It has impacts to education. It truly is the tide that lifts all ships. Share with us what is on your environmental and climate platform.
First and foremost, thank you for the question, is that we're going to make sure that data centers are not in our agenda. I live in South County, so I realize now there's a large amount of construction going on down there, okay? And I'm concerned about the permitting process to allow those things to happen without going to the citizens and getting an understanding on those kind of things. So we need to make sure that even in our schools, we have a lot of green schools now. We want to make sure we can get all of our schools to be green schools, you know. So if we can do that kind of thing, and just in general, just make sure the citizens are on board with any development that wants to come down. Any outside corporations, make sure they understand that we have standards that they have to meet. We don't just want the business, okay? We want to make sure that the environmental part is key in everything that we do.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Bridges. Now, let's go to Mr. Cruz.
Thank you for the question. I believe in smart cities. I believe that technology has moved us to a place where we can go green. When we talk about data centers, I want to get into that a little bit. I believe that there's a better way. And, you know, a lot of people know that I'm in technology, but I want to make it very clear, because I heard this on the campaign trail that Marcellus Cruz is for bringing in more data centers, and that's not true. I believe that there's a better way. There's new technology out there now where we can decentralize cloud computing, where we can actually have it the same way we do, you know, Uber decentralized, the transit union sector, we can decentralize how we're building cloud computing and not have the whole utilities going up, not have the fresh waters having to cool the systems. I believe that there's a better way, and I believe that if we take hold of the technology that's out there, we can actually take in some of the income that we'll be missing, not bring in data centers. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Cruz. Mr. Holmes, you have 2 minutes.
Thank you for the question. I look at it a little bit differently. When you're on the plane and stewardess comes up and they always talk about put your mask on you first, right? So we need to put our mask on us first, and that starts with what can government do internally. They're talking about external things. Internally in government, we have a net zero 2030 opportunity. We want to reduce emissions within both the fleet, the buildings, and any operational areas that that the government has its control over. So we want to reduce our emissions from 50 to 70% by 2030. I know it's aggressive, but we shoot for the moon sometimes, right? And this is one of those opportunities. So that's number one. So we have to focus on net zero by 2030, reducing our emissions by 70%. Second, I think we need to look at telework. I think we need to reduce our footprint in our government buildings. I think we did great. COVID showed us technology allows us to work remotely. So why does everyone have to be in space? We can do more at home than we can at work. That reduces our carbon footprint and our electricity and our energy costs by having less people in the building. So that's number two. And then number three, I do agree with Marcellus. There's smart technology out there because we've looked, I'm in business right now, and we look at tech as a utility. How do you take, water, HVAC, and electricity all emit data? Well, there's opportunity to take that data and monetize that data and bring revenue back into the county. And this is without bringing in outside forces. So we should put our mask on ourselves first to reduce our own emissions within the government.
Okay, all right. Thanks, Mr. Holmes. Now we will go to Mr. Jones. You can ask your question. And this round, we will actually start with Mr. Holmes, and then we'll work our way down. Mr. Jones, your question.
Easy on me, Kurt.
Good evening, gentlemen. What customer service standards would you create to make county agencies more efficient with respect to their responses to residential concerns via email, calling in, et cetera?
Well, I think first thing, we have to look at when there's emergencies, right? We have to look at when there's snowstorms and ice storms. We don't use the same internal system to take in those requests. So you have to be able to create an outside system. It is emergency preparedness. We should be prepared, and we haven't been, and we weren't when the ice storm hit. So the way I look at it, we need to create a real-time data dashboard that people can access real-time. You can look at it, and it has mobility to it. You can look at it on your phone. You can take it wherever you go, and there's an ability to answer and submit requests right there. And my administration and our administration, because government doesn't belong to me, it belongs to the people, we're going to respond within 12 hours. So you're going to get some type of response within 12 hours about your concern. And then you're going to have a dedicated person that stays with that response throughout it. It's not going to get passed off down the line. You're going to have a dedicated person. So I think having the accessibility of technology to submit a request and keep that request updated and have a dedicated person that has that responsibility, that builds customer service, that rebuilds trust. And lastly, we got to have accountability. Right now, there's no accountability, there's no guardrails in government. Accountability, transparency breeds trust. And right now, this current administration has lost the trust of the people in Prince George's County. So we have to regain that, and we do that by being honest to our failures, fixing our failures, and reducing any other indirect issues that come with response. Because I think that's what people are lacking. They're lacking a sense that people care, that this government cares.
Thanks, Mr. Holmes. All right, Mr. Cruz, you're up.
Customer service, that was the question, right? I believe that it starts at the top. I believe that we have lost what a county executive is in this county. We have managers. It's time for a leader, someone who casts vision, someone who exemplifies that customer service, starting with them. Next, when I look at a problem, I look to see, is it software, hardware, humanware? How do we fix it? And right now it's humanware. I was just talking to a business owner the other day who's been trying to open up his business here. And he's been going through the whole occupancy process. And he's being ping-ponged from agency to agency. Oh, you need this document. Oh, no, you need to go back. Oh, no, you don't need that document. But they need to give you a document to show that you don't need that document. The issue is the agency, somebody didn't just pick up a phone and call. So I think that the buck has to stop with the person. Humanware, we have to get it right, then we innovate and we bring in AI. And then we stop a lot of these bottlenecks that's happening in our agencies, but people have to just pick up a phone and help people. Lastly, I'm gonna say this. I have a program called the Prepared Professional that is in 2 schools currently. And right now, we have sixth graders going through customer service certifications. We have to start sooner educating our, coming workers. It's time for us to get serious about how we innovate in this county.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Cruz. Mr. Bridges, 2 minutes.
Thank you. Thank you again for the question. I can truly say I've been in customer service my whole life. Every career I've been in, every job I've had has been customer service. Currently, I'm in technology, but the technology doesn't resolve the problem. It has to be a human factor involved. I've gotten so many auto responders from members of government, and I'm tired of that now. It never a second response is just autoresponder. Thank you for writing. We can't have that anymore. So what I want to do is to make sure that the citizens have a direct involvement. I told at the last forum we had that I want to, in each council district, I want to create 6 people, 3 male, 3 female of different age ranges, okay? There'll be non-paid volunteers, county executive liaisons. And what they're going to do is going to be a second level of getting their questions answered or getting their services resolved. And these liaisons, I'll set up office space for them, but they can reach out to me because I know that I can't talk to 900,000 people. I'm not going to pretend I can do that, and therefore the autoresponders won't come. But we need to make sure that there's zero tolerance for misconduct from anybody or not doing your job. If we can get to that point where we understand customer service means just what it says, not just in word, but it means what it says, then we can move forward and get all those things resolved.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Bridges. And of course, we now have Mr. Weiss. You can ask your question, and we'll start with Mr. Bridges.
What industries, employers, or institutions would you target so Prince George's County is less dependent on federal employment and long commutes to DC or Northern Virginia?
Mr. Bridges, we'll start with you.
Oh, great, okay. Personally, I created a new Prince George's County plan back in 2018. I know we often talk about bringing in industry. With my new Prince George's County plans, there's a citizen investment bank where they can invest as little as $100 in whatever industry they want to create. That means it's done here from the people. It creates generational wealth, and therefore we can have to, the environmental thing we talked about earlier, we can address all those concerns because now we have our own in-house industries. They're not going to get up and leave like some of the industries that come here. And as far as the commutes and things, I thought about this over the last few weeks, and then I looking at 301 traffic and the 5 traffic, and it's really crazy in the mornings. So I would like to see a free metro service, bus service, okay, going through every neighborhood, okay. Therefore, the people that are going toward the DC area can actually get on that metro bus and they can get up to the metro station, and that lessens some of the traffic, though.
Okay, all right, thanks, Mr. Bridges. Mr. Cruz, 2 minutes.
Yes, thank you for the question. Let me see if I'm understanding the question. For me, the industry that I would like to bring here, the enterprise, is decentralized cloud computing, because we can bring that into our county where citizens can actually make up to $500 a month. Businesses can make up to $800 a month. And the government will bring into its coffers $500 million in the first year that we bring it in. This is not a pipe dream that I'm putting out there. This is something that we can actually do right now. The other thing is, as we're getting this money and now we're restructuring our economy, now we should be building better, developing better, and I call it walkable commerce hubs is what we should be building. Where from home, I should be able to walk down and go to the grocery store, to a shop and eat, or to a cafe, or to, or to get my hair cut. We are building where we have to drive everywhere, and that's a problem. And that puts pressure on our highways. So you just look at Woodmore. There's one way in. There's one way in, and everybody's going to Woodmore, and then we're losing opportunity of building other hubs because we don't have any money. So for me, this all comes back to bringing in an enterprise that can actually generate money. We have all the intellectual capital right here in Prince George's County to build what I'm talking about, and stop having a reliance on the federal government and the state for that matter. We can do this all right here amongst ourselves. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Cruz. Mr. Holmes, 2 minutes.
Thank you. I look at this completely different. No investments come into this county without creating a business, a welcoming culture. right? No one's going to invest multiple millions of dollars. No industry is going to come without the environment being welcoming to business. And right now, that's currently not the case. It takes you 4 or 5 years to get anything through DPI. It takes you got to go to the council member and get, approval from them. Then, it's all these different steps. It creates chaos in the culture. So without an environment welcoming for economic investment, investment won't come. So as your next county executive, we will create an environment where talent is respected, where homegrown businesses are respected, and where professionals, SMEs, subject matter experts, are in professional positions of industry who have knowledge, who can advance our strategy. So for our campaign, we don't have plans or programs, we have strategies on how to create environments for success. Once that's done, we're going to this county is going to be the most tech-enabled county in the country. We're going to create a destination for technology companies. I'm currently in partnership with one of the largest tech infrastructure companies in the world. And we're doing business, and we're currently working with small businesses to help them pivot from government contracting into the private sector. As a lot of people know, this current government looks at 8A firms as DE&I, and that's not the case, but they have suspended over 1,000 8A firms from that particular certification. So we need to pivot immediately into more of a private sector posture. We can't do that because the environment's not welcoming right now for new investment. So we have to create the culture and environment and the right leaders in place to now welcome industry and investment.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Holmes. Be sure to stay with us. We will return shortly after this brief break.
Through engagement and empowerment, we are fostering a new era of entrepreneurship right here in Prince George's County.
Welcome back. We're going to get right back into our panel of questions with candidates seeking the county executive seat. First, we want to begin with Ms. Hartwell, your question, and we'll start with Mr. Holmes.
Okay. Prince George's County residents are suffering from what many refer to as death from 1,000 cuts, unparalleled by any other county around the Capital Beltway. A consistently failing grade from the American Lung Association, yielding some of the nation's highest death rates linked to poor air quality, the highest rates of breast cancer in men and women in the country. The recent release of more than 240 million gallons of raw sewage from 2 locations in Maryland, threatening subsistence fishing and other environmental impacts. And now we have 32,000-gallon fuel spill at Joint Base Andrews added to the base's history of PFAS contamination. These are a few environmental cumulative impacts affecting health, learning, property values, legacy wealth, and quality of life. Given this record, what specific actions will you take as county exec to stop adding to these burdens and begin reversing them?
Thank you for the question. I think all those examples show a couple of things. One, we have poor infrastructure. I mean, we really have a lack of investment in our utilities in this, not only in this county, but in the region. Because we are the DMV, we are wrapped with both Virginia, DC, Maryland, and the federal government. And so we need to have better communication and partnership with our federal partners as well as our regional partners. But this is, all politics is local. This is really about the lack of investment in our infrastructure. And so until we understand that we have to create a new revenue stream to focus directly on infrastructure, it won't get fixed. One of the strategies we have is a partnership with a sovereign wealth fund. Right now, we know globally there's an exit in the market space over in the Middle East, and that capital that's leaving out of the UAE and Singapore and other places looking to be placed. And so through relationships that I bring to the table, we're going to bring a sovereign wealth fund that has a focus on investment in infrastructure, and they're looking to partner with local governments. That only can happen with not only private sector relationships, but also building relationships with our federal partners. Infrastructure has to be a priority, and it hasn't been under this current regime.
All right, thanks, Mr. Holmes. Now we'll go to Mr. Cruz.
I agree. Infrastructure has been a major issue. And from what I have seen from our leadership for the last few decades, they have allowed developers to just do what they want to do. We've been building homes and developments after homes, large townhomes, and we've been pricing out our young professionals and young families. Well, from what I'm seeing, we are negotiating from a place of weakness. Individuals get in the office and then they negotiate these deals and then they allow them to run rampant so that they can stay in office. But I'm here to tell you that that would change under Marcellus Cruz administration. I believe that we can bring in new revenue, and I'm going to say this again. We can bring in a new enterprise where you can have a device in your home the size of this phone and be a part of a cloud computing center. Why do AWS and all these companies want to come in here and build a data center for $5 billion? Why do they spend that kind of money? Because they know how much money they will make when they create that data center. Do you know that the average server in a data center makes over $25 to $3,000 a month? So imagine how many servers that are in that data center where they're able to recoup their money. I am saying, as a county, we can be the first county to create a decentralized cloud computing center where everyone is getting in on the action, not just a company, all right? And not have the whole environmental issues that we have now, so that we can get on with building community walkable hubs. I believe that we are building.
All right, Mr. Cruz.
It was green. I couldn't tell.
Fine. Yep.
Sorry about that.
Time is up. Mr. Bridges?
Thank you again for that question. There's an old saying that if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. In emergency management, we have something that we call tabletop exercises. We try to figure out what's the worst case scenario, what kind of things will happen that we need to address. We talked about the spills and things that we're having and the air quality and so forth. That's not an issue that we should have by not having someone environmentally go out there to check the water quality once, twice a day maybe, because we don't want to wait to find out days later that we had a spill in the water and now we're being polluted. When we do those kind of things, then we're actually getting ahead of the game. We don't want to be reactive. We want to make sure that we're actually ahead of the game and we're planning those things. I mentioned earlier about having mass transit, buses rather, going through neighborhoods. I failed to mention, I want those buses to be electric, okay? I want those to be not carbon emitting, okay? So when we can deal with those things, then we are going to help ourselves. But also as part of my new Prince George's County plan, I have in there a robust mobile health department. We need to get out into every community to make sure that we find out what's going on in the community, okay? We can get out there, we can get ahead of things, we can help save lives and just make our lives better. Those are things that we can control. The things that we can't control, we have to just kind of pray about those things and do the best that we can.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Bridges.
Dominic, you mind if I jump back in? I'm sitting here thinking, I'm like, I think we're missing it. Infrastructure is core of a community. Mm-hmm. And without the core being and that foundation being stable, we're going to continue to have the messes that you talked about. So it has to be the number one priority. Mm-hmm. It is the foundation of a community, our infrastructure. And so we can't just pray spills away. We can't pray sewage away. We have to get our hands dirty and fix this, or we're going to cease to have a community that our families can be proud of. And so it has to be more than just praying in IT. It has to be digging up in the ground and building in an infrastructure that meets the 21st century needs of our community.
I got you. I'm going to allow Mr. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second, because I know we both. I'm going to allow Mr. Cruz. I'll give you 1 minute, and then Mr. Bridges, I'll also give you 1 minute. Mr. Cruz, you want to start?
I agree with what we're saying. What I'm saying is financial healing has to take place as well, simultaneously, because we're not developing correctly. Our county is losing money, and we're retracting from everything. If you look at this new budget, we've pulled money from transportation. If you look at this new budget, we're budgeting off of the backs of property tax and income tax. I believe financial healing right now is what we need the most.
All right, Mr. Bridges, I want to give you
Yes,
time to respond.
When I said praying about it, there are things that we cannot control. For instance, we can control what happens in Prince George's County, but outside of Prince George's County, we cannot control that. So with those things, we have to work with national capital planning and so forth, and work with the surrounding communities to try to deal with pollution. But for as air pollution from airplanes and so forth, that's something that we can't control. We can try to work with the federal government, but in the midst of all that, prayer is essential that we work with that.
All right, Mr. Bridges. Again, I want to reiterate that when we have this, we want to make sure that we give the panel enough time so that they can have questions. You guys can go back and forth on another program. Mr. Jones, I want to start with you, and Mr. Bridges will start.
Sure. Good evening again. How would you address the healthcare disparities as it relates to emergency room wait time in the county?
Mr. Bridges, we'll start with you. 2 minutes.
Thank you, sir. As part of my new Prince George's County plan, okay, we have in there 2 charity hospitals, north and south, for those who cannot afford anything. Because right now, the amount of healthcare workers, that's going to create that log jam. So if we can actually spread this out and doing the health department, going out there doing the preventive portion, okay, we can also get to some people that prevent them from getting to the emergency rooms. But in itself, we can also work with our community colleges, okay, trying to get additional healthcare workers in. We can do things to try to lure those that we need to help increase the capacity for hospitals and so forth. But I've been in emergency care before, and I've noticed also that, yes, an hour, 2 hours and so forth, and that's just way too long. So we have to have more facilities available. And I think through the idea of having charity hospitals that we can actually spread out some of the care and get some people into the care they need to have without having to wait so long.
I got you, Mr. Cruz.
I believe that it is time to go with models that work. I visited Adventist Hospital down in Fort Washington. The county dropped the ball with helping them for expansion, along with the state. However, with their small facility, they're able to bring in a lot of people with ailments. And their wait time is only 15 minutes. Now, why is that? Why is their wait time only 15 minutes? Because they introduced a model that works. We need to put that across the board. I think a lot of times our hospitals are holding people in the waiting room because of Medicare and Medicaid, because of a lot of things that they see that they have to build, but we need to move to a different model. And I think if we do something like that and bring financial healing to our county so that we can invest and build these hospitals out, we'll do better.
All right, Mr. Cruz. Mr. Holmes, 2 minutes. 2 minutes.
Yeah, thank you. I look at it a little bit differently. I think if we created the environment for professionals who are in the healthcare space to stay. Right now, Prince George's County is used as a stop and go. You come here because we have a high level of critical care. You come and get that experience, and the professionals leave and take sweet jobs in other counties because we haven't created the environment where they stay. And so that's number one. That's one reason why we have such long wages, because the talent comes and goes as opposed to stay and invest. So that's number one. We have to create that environment I talked about earlier. Number two, we had to create surge zones within our emergency rooms. A sprained ankle is different than a gunshot wound, but they all come and funneled in the same way. So we have to be able to triage a lot better. And to Marcellus's point, we have to come up with a new model to discharge. Not everything requires an overnight stay, not everything requires a bed. I think we just have to be more 21st century in how we think about not only the type of care, but the professionals that come. We have to treat people from a professional standpoint, or our talent's going to continue to leave. We talked earlier about this, we having the talent and the promise and opportunity, but it's not staying. Words doesn't heal. We have to create an environment where people stay and work.
All right, thank you, Mr. Holmes. Now we're going to go to Mr. Weiss. We'll start with Mr. Bridges.
Public safety is a basic government responsibility. With repeat offenders, police understaffing, youth crime, shopping center crime, and a growing population, what would you do as county executive to make us safer?
Once again, as part of the Prince George's County plan, we want to make sure that we go from police to public safety. What that means is that we're bringing those officers closer into the community. They're going to actually patrol only within a 5 or 10 mile radius of where they live. We want them to actually be here and live here. We want them to mentor the youth. We want them to be involved in sports activities for the youth. We want to make sure that we get more youth recruited to go into public safety. If they can see that public safety is a career that they can actually make a difference in, and they can actually be a part of making their own community more livable and so forth. And as far as the youth being out of control, as some would say, we're not doing enough as a county to make sure we meet their needs and figure out what they need to do, because if we don't create situations where maybe once every couple of weeks we can do something for them, whether it be a movie night out or be something that make them know they're part of the community, or if they like to, those who like to race and so forth, rather than have them out on 210 racing, why don't we create a drag strip to let them go a quarter-mile race, okay? And we did that growing up, and so just got to do things that make them feel that they're part of the community and they're not just a nuisance, because the parents can't lock them up at home and keep them at home all the time. But yes, the parents do have to be responsible, but from a public safety standpoint, we have to make sure that we're out there, and police recruiting and so forth, or public safety, I should say. I don't even like that term, police, anymore. But public safety, if we can do that, we can make sure that everybody's a part of the community, and not when they graduate from high school and so forth, they want to come back because this is home. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Bridges. Now we'll go to Mr. Holmes, 2 minutes. Sorry, Mr. Cruz.
Oh. I agree with what was just said. I also agree that on the carrot side, we have to change our culture. I spoke earlier about the Prepared Professional program that I have currently in the school system. It is a fact that when you engage kids at an early age, starting at 6th grade, and you allow them to start getting certifications, you start allowing them to engage in understanding entrepreneurship, that they stay in school up to the tune of 96%. Build.org has that information that's showing that we have to do a better job in our school system. Better after school programs. And a lot of the programs that we have in the Prepared Professional are the kids are working in the areas that they are excited about, from content creation to actually programming. It is important and time for us to innovate in our education system.
Okay, perfect. Now we'll go to Mr. Holmes.
I look at it as security, not so much public safety. We really have to create an environment. I need to say this actually. Why in our county when people walk and go for a walk, they carry a stick, they carry a golf club or something, and then you go into other counties and they're just out walking with their dogs and coffee? I mean, why is it in our county that you have to have this sense of, I need to bring something with me just to go for a walk? We have to create this environment where people are safe and secure. A safe and secure community leads to secure schools. And so without having a strategy around creating this safe zone that people feel protected in their own environment, where I don't have to walk around with a bat, and I don't have to walk around with a cane, I don't have to walk around a golf club, just in my own community, when I go to Anne Arundel, Montgomery, and it's what we all want. And so again, that comes back to creating this culture and this environment where investment, economics, and safety is present. I had to say that because I saw a lady this morning walking with a golf club at 6 a.m. in the morning for what? What are you scared of at 6 a.m.? But that's only in Prince George's County that happens. And so back in our police, I support the police. I support them front facing with community. I know they're understaffed, and that's something we have to deal with, and that's something that, yes, it's in a budget that's not a budget, but we have to create an environment where people want to come here. I guarantee you, as you're leaving Prince George's County on route in Pennsylvania Avenue, you stop right there at the Showplace Arena, you see a bunch of police cars. Why? Because they don't live here. You can't take your police car outside the county. And so it's flooded with police cars because we're bringing talent from outside in, and because people in this county don't want to protect and serve. And so we have to change the business culture and the
Mr. Holmes.
mindset here in the county.
Your time is up. Thank you for that. You are watching the People's Candidate Forum. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Through engagement and empowerment, we are fostering a new era of entrepreneurship right here in Prince George's County.
Thank you for staying with us. You're watching the People's Candidate Forum. This is our final round of questions for our candidates. So let's get started. We'll start with Ms. Hartwell and we'll start with Mr. Bridges. Ms. Hartwell, your question?
Alexandria has 3 Whole Foods in 14 square miles. Prince George's County has 1 in more than 490 square miles. Many residents see this as a symbol of a deeper problem: disinvestment, weak amenity access, and difficulty attracting the kinds of businesses and research institutions that build thriving communities. What is your plan to change that, and how will you make Prince George's a place top-tier employers want to come to and residents do not want to leave?
Mr. Billy, you have 2 minutes.
Thank you. This also goes back to my Citizens Prince George's County Investment Bank, because with that, citizens will be able to invest in all forms of development, whether it be affordable housing, grocery stores, fine dining, anything that they so choose to bring in high tech and so forth. But we'd also still do an outreach for industries that we want to bring in. And once they see that we have the amenities that we mentioned that we don't have, I had one of my coworkers mention that we don't have a Trader Joe, and they said, make sure if you're elected, we get one of those. And I said, man, how about we own that, okay? Because if you, as part of the citizen investment, and we're talking about the number of citizens, just even a minimum of $100, if we're talking about 900,000 citizens, that's a large amount of money, okay? And we know there are going to be others who want to invest a lot more than $100, but $100 is just a minimum to get you in so that you know that you are part and you own that store. So each time you go in, each time the cash register rings, you can understand that that money is coming back to you. Thank you.
Mr. Bridges, Mr. Cruz, you have 2 minutes.
My vision is to make Prince George's County the innovation and technology hub for the world. I believe that we can start out with a decentralized cloud computing center where every citizen now is in the fight. They're making money, where businesses and churches are now receiving income from this new enterprise, where the government now in the first year will be able to balance our budget, receive over $500 million in revenue, to exceed that as we build on it. I believe it is time to create an environment of financial healing because so many people have lost, they have just lost their desire to wait this thing out. I believe we can change our culture, and then with that cloud computing, we can bring our quantum computer as the backbone to this new cloud center that we have built. This will change our county. This would make us the envy of the world, the first county to do something like that. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Cruz. Mr. Holmes, you have 2 minutes.
Prince George's, we need a new standard of executive leadership. That's it. The current managers in place and directors don't meet the moment. We have to establish and give people a sense that there's a level of brand equity and brand ROI, return on investment, when you invest in this county. That comes from leadership. Everything rises and falls based on leadership. And so currently we don't have it. Therefore, we don't receive what we think we should get. That's the first thing. The second thing, with that new standard of leadership, retailers won't come because we go to them. They do it by zip code. So you have 3 Whole Foods in one area. All they do is look at the zip codes and see, and that drives where they put these stores. And so if we continue to go outside of our county to spend our dollars, those type of high-level businesses won't come to this county, which is why a new standard has to be set in Prince George's County. And that starts with leadership, competence, and accountability. And those things we don't have.
All right, thanks, Mr. Holmes. All right, Mr. Jones, you have the next question.
With growing concerns that hyperscale data centers strain the grid, water supply, public infrastructure, while residents absorb the high rising costs, do you support requiring developers to pay the full cost of their impact instead of socializing the costs onto the public? How would you enforce that, and what reforms would you demand of the PJM interconnection, the Maryland Public Service Commission, and the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission to stop ratepayers from absorbing those funds?
Thanks, Mr. Jones. Mr. Holmes, we'll start with you.
Yeah, so I'm against hyperscale data center. I know we have a moratorium and a pause on them right now. I'm against it. It's going to disrupt our way of life, and it's not, the squeeze isn't worth the juice, right? We have to look to our governor and to our General Assembly, because Prince George's County elected officials have no power over ratepayer and the cost of electricity. That's with the Maryland Public Service Commission. And so we have to push our governor, which they've made some changes, they've capped some rates, but we have to push them to make additional investments in our grid. The problem isn't that we have too much electricity. The issue is we have demand on electricity and the grid can't hold it. And so because we're part of this collective of 13 plus states, other states may have, like Virginia, have these hyperscale data centers that pull, so that cost gets dispersed to everyone, whether you have them or not. Prince George's is feeling that impact. Maryland is feeling that impact. One thing we haven't talked about is the global impact. What's going on in the Straits of Hormuz, and what's going on when we attack another country that has access to dictating how oil prices and crude prices are adjusted. So now we're fighting 2 battles, none of which the local government can fight alone. So we need our federal and our state partners to really step up and provide relief, so we can provide relief here at the local level to residents.
All right, thanks, Mr. Holmes. Mr. Cruz, you have 2 minutes.
I'm also against bringing in centralized data centers. I'm aware of the Utility Act that the state just passed, passing on to, the developers to pay for their upgrades to the energy costs. But I just believe that there's a better way, and I'm going to hammer this. Decentralization is the future. That's where things are going. Uber is a great example. They decentralized the transit sector. Well, there are companies right now decentralizing how we build data centers. And cloud computing is a tool right now that we can utilize and become the first county to not have these issues, but yet reap all of the benefits, where we can all benefit, bring in our quantum computing as the backbone for security and research, and become that first county where now we're attracting talent. Now we have the money to have a set-aside fund for energy to help our citizens. I'm all about financial healing. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Mr. Bridges, you have 2 minutes.
Thank you. I think we have to get out of the consumer mindset and get into the producer mindset. We are always talking about bringing in businesses, okay? We're talking about the data centers and so forth, which I'm totally against, because not only because of the energy and the water consumption, but because of the health-related issues. We need to make sure we stand up and say that we're not going to have those items. And as far as even the electricity right now, I don't think we've ever considered how we could, as citizens in Prince George's County, could actually co-op our monies together and based on the scale, to go out to SMECO and PEPCO and ask them, okay, we as a community, okay, we're willing to offer you, let's say if you are 1,000 square foot house, $50 per month electricity, and 2,000 maybe it's $100, electricity bill. If we take that and we lump all that together and tell SMECO and PEPCO, this is what we're willing to offer for you, while we're also developing alternative methods of energy production. We have to make sure that we are not in a position of weakness, because still in a position of weakness is going to keep you in a form of always trying to find a solution when you should already be ahead of the problem. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bridges. And now we have Mr. Ron to finish us off.
So what is your vision for Prince George's County? And what 3 measurable results would you commit to achieving by the end of your first term?
Mr. Bridges, we'll start with
Thank you.
you.
Thank you so much. First and foremost, I'll be the first to say I'm a one-term candidate if elected, because I only want the 4 years to get the groundwork laid in the foundation. There's others that are much younger who, once we lay the foundation and have the plan in place, then we can move forward. But my measurable things are making sure that there's health care available for everyone, with elder care, make sure that we're taking care of our seniors, that they can be in a point where they can live their lives out in true happiness. And that can be done simply by understanding that the health care is better, the facilities where which they're staying, if they're not in their homes, are better. So those kind of things that we can do. Measuring-wise, their happiness, that's something that we can't necessarily see, but they can feel it because they want to stay here. They want to live their life out the way that they would like to live. And as far as our young people, again, wanting them to come back. So if they can see that the schools are working, they can see that public safety is working, they can see that they can actually afford to live because they're invested in this county, that will work for them also. And as far as the schools, again, I had to go back on this, okay, but this is something we didn't talk a lot about, the schools, because 28 years in the school system, I see we failed our students, and everything starts with education. If we don't get that right, everything else fails. So when I see we have a top-notch school system, I know we've made it.
All right, thanks, Mr. Bridges. Mr. Cruz, 2 minutes.
My vision is to make Prince George's County the innovation and technology hub for the world. I believe that we can do this. I've been talking about it all night. And I believe that it's time for financial healing. When we have financial healing, when we move from a passive economy to a production economy, and keep in mind, a passive economy is what we've been living on, the backs of property tax and income tax. It is time for us to produce. It is time for us to export cloud computing. It's time for us to be able to build the walkable commerce hubs in all 27 municipalities, where we have tourist streets, where you can go home, park, and go down to the shop and just hang out, or go get a meal, or bring in Whole Foods. I believe that we can restructure this government and change the culture here in Prince George's County and bring in the talent that we desperately need. Now is the time. Thank you.
All right. Mr. Holmes, 2 minutes.
Yeah, Prince George's, we have the talent, we have the promise, we have the opportunity, we lack leadership. It's really that simple. So I see this as a leadership moment. We're at a tipping point. We've reached it, and we've lacked this leadership in this county for far too long. So everything rises and falls based on leadership. We need the leadership in the county, and we need the adults in the room that can elevate this county to a new level. Second, accountability. None of this works without accountability, which is why I've put forth an initiative on the ballot for the general election for office of an independent office of the Inspector General. It has subpoena powers. It will put the guardrails and accountability around our government we so desperately need. And last is technology and education. We can't do any of the things we're talking about without having the next generation prepared and ready to step up and take our place. As Mr. Bridges said, he's only going to serve 1 term. He has to win to do that. But we have a new generation that's going to come up and really be able to take the reins, but we have to create the environment and the culture for them to do that. So it's leadership, accountability, tech, and education.
Perfect. Thank you, Mr. Holmes. I want to thank all of the candidates along with our panelists tonight. This has been a part of the People's People's Candidate Forum. And we have to remember that democracy works best when you have informed voters. I'm Dominique Moody. Remember, democracy is a participatory sport. Get off the bench and get in the game. Thank you.
Hey you, stop and listen. This is a public service announcement with Dakari Chapman. Why should you know your Constitution and why should you know your rights as a U.S. citizen? How would you like it if someone didn't allow your club to meet at your house? I wouldn't, because that's not cool. How would you like to be tried without a jury? I wouldn't, because that's not cool. These things are not cool. Learn your rights as a U.S. citizen so you know what to do in these situations. Thanks for listening, and remember, it's an American thing, so learn it.
In this place, strength means something different. It means us all being together and doing our thing.
Place for you. Gather round, let's continue with our paper rocket. Here's this one. This is yours. For you. And let's move together.
You can look all you want, but there's still no place like this place.
There's nearly 678,290,000 kids under 5 around the world. But what's so important about being 5? Well, children who live to age 5 are twice as likely to reach adulthood. That's why vaccines matter so much. For 40 years, Rotary and partners have delivered vaccines globally. Like here and even here, in your neighborhood and around the world, Rotary is ensuring children grow up safe from preventable diseases.
Are you looking for more in this world? Then we are looking for you. The big-hearted, the bold, those driven by purpose. We are the Peace Corps, volunteers, partners, communities in more than 60 countries, bringing our experience, joy, and passion to building a better world together. Are you ready to serve boldly, to go the distance to make a difference? Then we have a place where you belong. Join us.
Coming home didn't feel right. The military, for me, had become my life, and so it just wasn't easy. There's nobody to relate to back home, so you're alone. And that's the worst feeling in the world. And that's when I found Wounded Warrior Project. And they were so welcoming. I like to say that they saved my life. Wounded Warrior Project is my family because there's a host of others that are out there like me, whether it's mentally or physically, that are going through the same thing.
Together, we play together, you know, just like exactly.
But it took some time for me to actually realize I'm worth it. And that's the biggest thing. You have to realize you're worth it.